good morning, good afternoon. Hope you are doing well. Okay, so in this class, we will see how we can design one automation workflow using UiPath Studio using AutoPilot. Okay, so to do this, what you have to do, so ideally we will create all our workflows in UiPath Studio Web using cloud workspace. Similarly, you can create using your local workspace, right? So but in this time, what I will do, I will go to the template. So as I explained previously, there are a lot of templates are available in UiPath Studio. So one of them is called use autopilot to generate your project, right? So you can go here and click on get started. So once you click on get started, it will ask you so which kind of solutions you want to create using your autopilot. So you can select your agentic process, select your agent, select your API flows and apps. So I'll just simply select RPA workflow I want to generate in the starting point. So I'll just click on RPA workflow. So once I have clicked on RPA workflow, then it will just give you an interactive system like your ChatGPT. So where you can provide your prompt. Okay, so what prompt I'm going to provide it, so I have already been written that. I will go to my agenda. So my plan is here, I want, let's assume, so you have a electronics company where you are selling the products to the customers, and each product has some warranties, right? So for example, you buy a product from ABB companies, and from that companies selling some electronics product, and in this electronics product have some warranty. Okay, but that warranty is got expired. Okay, but that guarantee is got expired. That is a unique number. So what exactly that warranty, I can say the customer register them with a unique number. Suppose once the customer will buy that product, then you will get a unique registration code, or you can say the warranty number, whatever you can say. Okay, but that code issues physically in the packet when the product is bought by the customers, right? But that product number, or that you can say product registration number, we will communicate to the customers, and we want that product number so that we can extend your warranty. Okay, so we can extend your warranty periods. Okay, so to do this, we will let's assume we will communicate the email to the customer will start sending the emails to the company along with their product number or the registration code, or you can say warranty number. Okay, that is mentioned on their physical box. Okay, that number, when customer will send that to the companies, there might be a possibility of the customer will send the warranty number in a different format, might be some space, might be some append with some character, might be it can be not in the correct way how the company is expecting. Okay, to overcome that, if you will sit and you will go ahead and validate each and every warranty number of the customers, the product who bought, it will be tedious task for you, right? To validate one by one all the product numbers, validate it. If it is valid, then you can send an email, okay, you have successfully registered for the extended warranty. If you have not validated is a wrong product number given or wrong format, then you can again send an email to send the correct format. So if you think about to complete all this job, it will be a huge amount of effort is required for a human being to complete all these things, right? So to do this, what we can do, we will design a workflow. What exactly that workflow will do? Okay, customer will send the email to the organization, then the company will go to the email, access the email, and once it will access the email, then it will validate the customer ID. If that customer ID is correct, then it will send an email. yes, your registration is successful for extended warranty. If the customer ID is not correct, then it will going to send an email. Yes, your customer ID, your registration number is not correct. Please resend with the correct registration number. Okay, so that's the overall problem statement we are going to achieve in this particular UiPath Web RPA workflows. Okay, so same thing I have mentioned here. This is the is the electronics company providing the extended warranty on the product. Okay, but only if the customer registered with the unique registration code, the code will be issued to the physical packing. Then customer must be submitted to a registration from or by email. Right. This is the problem statement. Now challenges is customer often submit the code in the wrong format, okay, mistyped or incomplete. Okay, this lead to a delay, right? Back and forth communication will happen between the company and the customers, right? And miss the warranty activation also, that can be a possibility also. The customer will lose that benefit, right? So to avoid all such things, so we have come up with a solutions, right, to automate the validation of customer registration code, to ensure the invalid code send notification. I mean to say, any code if sent by the customer is invalid, you need to communicate them it is invalid. Okay, then if it is valid, then we'll just validate it. Then you can do a registration and we can submit a confirmation message to the customers. Okay, so to achieve this, what all are the components is required for this? To go to the Excel file, in the there is a Excel file I have stored. Okay, that Excel file which will contains all the customer details, customer code, right? This is the customer name, this is the customer code, these are the email IDs. Similarly, all other information is also contains, right? So customer name, customer code submitted, and email address. Once we will get this, then what we will do, we will do a for each loop on the Excel and we will read the details. Once we will read the details, then we will verify it, right? We will verify it. So once we will read the detail, we will verify it. If it is a valid code, then you can send a confirmation. If it is invalid code, then you can send a notification to the customers, right? So to do this, this is the prompt we are going to use. We will not going to develop in step by step as like previous class. We will going to give the prompt. Our autopilot is capable enough to build the entire automation workflow for me. Okay, so at the end you will able to see your workflow will contains these are the activities. Read Excel, which will read the data from Excel. For each row to routing through your rows in the Excel. Then it will capture the name, code, email ID. Then once it will capture, then it will do the validations of the code given by the customers. Okay, then if it is valid, then it will send a confirmation. If it is not valid, then it will send a notifications, right? So that's it all about. Now we will quickly go to our automation web, or you can say studio web. Okay, so in the studio web, what you have to do, you have to go to the template, then you have to click on the automate or generate test case or workflow, RPA workflow with your autopilot. Then you have to select which kind of flow you want to design. Is it a agentic, or is it a agent, or is it a RPA workflow? So I have selected RPA workflow. Okay, it's just like ChatGPT here. What I'll do, I'll just copy this content. Okay, so I'll copy this content here. You can say this content is called I can say read an Excel file. I'll instruct to my LLM what it will do. It will read the Excel file which contains the column name, code submitted by the customers, and email address. Okay, so once the user has submitted the details, okay, over the email, that is captured and stored in my Excel. Okay, this is my Excel where it is been stored. Okay, now I'll back to my flow here. So then the next step, that's why this is how I am writing the prompt. Okay, then the next is for each row in the spreadsheet, validate the value code submitted using this rule. These are the rule I have defined here. Your code must be start with PRD followed by 4-digit number and with 2 uppercase letter. So all these conditions or the rule I have defined. If the code is valid, send an email. If the code is invalid, then send an email. All these things I have defined here, right? So now what I'll do, okay, now my point is, what I have to do, so I'll just copy this prompt. Okay, I'll just copy this prompt here. So once I'll copy this prompt and I'll go to my studio web, here I'll paste this prompt. Okay, so just let me reiterate it. This is my prompt. Okay, perfect. Now I click on generate. So if you see my previous class, everything, whatever the automation workflow we have designed, that we have designed step by step, right? So now using our AutoPilot, everything we are going to design is our AutoPilot is capable enough to design the entire workflow. Okay, we will just give the prompt in a structured manner, in a proper rule and regulations. Now if you see here, I have given just the prompt and click on generate. Now it's completely generated, right? It's generated with manual trigger, then generated read the Excel file with data table. Okay, it means it will go to the Excel file and read the data. Okay, then it will run a loop. Inside this loop, it will just capture the code, capture the details like name, code, and email ID. But in this case, if you see, it is just not capturing the email ID and not capturing your, you can say, name and all, directly capturing the code and doing the validation. Okay, using regular expression. Okay, then if the code is valid or invalid, then send an appropriate mail. Let's assume if your code, if the validation is written true, then it will send an email, your registration is successful. If your code is not valid, then it will send an email with a notification. So if you will click on continue, so it will going to generate your entire workflow within your solution explorer. So if you see, my flow is created with a solution name called validate Excel code and send emails. Okay, and the workflow name is called main.xml file. And in this, if you see, this is my manual trigger and this is the read Excel file, which will going to read the data from Excel, and this is for each row in the Excel file. Okay, so then next step is, if you see here, I have added two assign block. One is called to extract the customer name and other one is called your the email I submitted code and email address, because that is not added by my AutoPilot. Okay, so I manually add these two workflow using assign activity. So how we'll add this? Just click on this plus icon. Okay, and you look for assign. You look for assign variable value. This one you have to use like this. Okay, you have to use this value and you have to set a variable here, and see, these are my variables created. Okay, you can set a variable here. Okay, and you have to set the value here. So what you are going to set it, I will going to explain. Okay, let me delete this. Okay, so what are the activities I have added here? One assign activity I have added where I can capture the customer name. Second is added another activity is called code submitted. Okay, third one is I have added one activity, assign activity called email address, because these three activities is not added by my Copilot or my AutoPilot. Okay, so once I have added, then if I will explain this, so because the rest of the part is added by my AutoPilot for reading the data from Excel, manual trigger, read for each row in the Excel also done by the AutoPilot. Now if I'll expand this here, I have added, this is one of the variable I have created. Okay, in this variable I am going to add the value. Okay, the value which is coming from Excel, I am going to set it. Then it will return the value from your Excel. Similarly for code, similarly for email address. Okay, so once you have added this, then the next step is we will do a validation. So this is added by my AutoPilot. What exactly I am doing the validation here? I have to text to search. This is the code submitted. It means that whatever the value I am reading from my Excel, I am storing in this variable, right? Code submitted. So the same code submitted value I am just validating using my regular expressions. Okay. So once I will do the validation, it will return me a boolean value. If it is matching with my regular expression, then I can say the code is perfect, sent by the customers. Then it will return a boolean value. If it is not matched, then the code is not valid, right? So it will return a boolean value. That boolean value I am going to compare it here using a if condition. Is code valid is equal to true. Is code valid would be a variable, boolean variable, which is stored inside this validate code. So if you see somewhere you will find here is code valid. Okay, this is the variable. So let me hide it. Then here I will do is code valid is equal to true. Yes, it is true. Then if it is true, then this is also an email activity given by my AutoPilot. Then here in this I have to just use the email address to whom I am going to send the email. This email address is coming from my Excel, right? This email address is coming from my Excel. So I don't have shared mailbox. I don't want to send an email. Okay, I want to just save the email in the draft, so that I have selected true. Why I have not selected save as draft false? Because the email ID are the dummy email IDs, so it will not going to send emails. That's why I have selected this is true, save as draft. Okay, then the subject you can put any string. I have just put registration successful. Then the body you can just read it from your you can say from your format email box. Okay, then you have to provide the attachment if you have. Similarly for the else block, in the else block also same exactly, nothing difference here, only your subject line will be changed to need action invalid code, and you have to provide this content. Okay, so nothing else. If you see this content here is saying the string dot format hello, 0 means it will give the details of the users, and the code it will give the code of your product code you have provided is invalid. Please double check the format and try again in the valid format, customer name blah blah blah. Okay, this is just an array. You can just how you are going to read the value from array, same thing here. Okay, in the curly braces 0 then 0 1, it will be just reading the value from the index. Okay, so that's it. So you have successfully designed your workflow, right? Now very important thing. So as I told, when you are interacting, your UiPath Studio is interacting to third-party systems. Can be your OneDrive Excel, can be your Outlook Excel. Make sure that you have to establish the connection. If you don't know how to do this, please go through my previous videos and you will see how we will establish the connection. So if you see here, this is the connection I have established to connect to the Excel. Same thing if you go here, if you see here, I can also establish the connection to my Outlook, my Microsoft Outlook. Same thing the established I have done the connection for Outlook Microsoft. Okay, so then only your UiPath Studio is able to connect to the respective system or respective app, and it will perform the actions. Okay, so now the time to test the entire workflow, how we have designed it. Okay, but frankly we have not designed, everything is designed by AutoPilot. We have just restructured, just we will do some fine tune as per our requirement, like configuring the credential, configuring couple of assign details, assign variables, we stored some values. That's it, nothing else we have done, everything is done by AutoPilot. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll just click on debug on cloud. So once you click on debug on cloud, the execution will start now. Okay, if you see here, now it's go to the manual trigger and it is successful. Now it start reading the data from Excel. Okay, because once the customer has sent the details, all the details has been stored in the Excel. Now the validation is done by the companies. Okay, now in company human is not doing, is doing by the workflows, or you can say it's done by the studio web. So now if you see it's read the Excel, then it will go to the for each row in the Excel, capture the details like customer name, code submitted, and email address. Then finally did the validations, okay, of the code submitted by the customers. Then once the validation is true, then it will going to send an email, okay, so to the customers. If the validation code is not correct, then it will send a notification to the customers, okay. So if you see the entire execution is completed, in this case the code, you went well, all the executions without any errors. Now the time to test it, right? Now the time to test it. So if I'll go to my Excel, these are my customer details, right? And they are product IDs, they are the product emails, these are the customer names. Now see here, inbox you will not find, you will not find in send item also, because I am not going to send an email, because all these are the dummy email IDs. So what I have selected, I selected just to save the email in the draft. So if you go to the draft here, all the email ID has been saved here. See, 10:17 a.m., 10:17 a.m., 10:17 a.m. All are the different customers. If you see, the registration is successful. This is the dummy email ID. Hello Flexi Brown. This you are successfully verified, right? Similarly, you can see here, action needed, invalid code. Okay, it's clearly saying that please double check the format and try again in this format. So similarly, if you see, all these email IDs is send, or you can say saved in draft. If you want to send, just to go, if you have a valid email ID and if you want to send that, simply you have to go to here and you have to just select this in the email Outlook email. You have to just select these options, okay, save as draft to be false. Then it will going to execute the email to the customers, it will going to send the email to the customers. Okay, so in this case, if you have seen, we are not automating the part where the customer is sending the email. Once the email come to my or company inbox, then from reading the email from inbox and storing the product ID, customer name, email ID into the Excel, that part we are not covering here. So that part, if you want, you can also create another workflow and integrate that workflow to your main workflow, which will read the email from your inbox and it will capture the name, product code, and email ID and store in the Excel. But here, what I have instructed to AutoPilot, this will be your source. You can read the data from this Excel. Okay, so that's it for today. So hope you guys have enjoyed the session, and I will strongly recommend you can try from your side using that AutoPilot template, and I'll going to send the prompt in the descriptions. Please use that prompt and to build your automation workflow using UiPath Studio Web. Yeah, thank you so much. Bye bye, keep learning.